Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. The mind is both the greatest strength and the greatest weakness of a person. It is like a restless monkey, always jumping from one thought to another, never at peace. But if trained, it becomes the most powerful tool to shape destiny. The way the mind thinks depends on what it feeds upon: thoughts, emotions, and experiences. If it is filled with fear, doubt, and laziness, life becomes a chain of suffering. If it is filled with courage, determination, and purity, it becomes a force of nature, breaking all barriers. Strength of the mind comes from a deep source within, from the unshakable truth that every individual is divine, fearless, and full of potential. Weakness, fear, regret, and sadness come from ignorance of this truth. A person who truly realizes that they are not the body, not even the changing thoughts, but the immortal soul, becomes fearless. Even in the face of pain, loss, or failure, such a mind does not break, because it knows that these are passing waves on the vast ocean of existence. Inspiration comes from realizing that the power within is infinite. One does not need to look outside for motivation. The greatest strength is already inside. Just as a lion does not need to be taught its strength, a person must awaken to their own power. Struggles and difficulties are not obstacles, but the fire that purifies gold. The moment one stops seeing challenges as suffering and starts seeing them as a path to greater strength, the mind transforms. Fear disappears when faced head-on. Regret fades when one realizes that every experience is a lesson, not a punishment. Sadness dissolves when the mind stops clinging to the past and embraces the present moment. Laziness is crushed when one understands that life's purpose is not comfort, but growth. Great minds are not born. They are made by discipline, self-belief, and constant effort. The mind, when controlled, can achieve anything, but when left to wander aimlessly, it creates misery. The only way to master the mind is through practice, by feeding it noble thoughts, by removing self-doubt, by embracing struggle as a blessing. The world belongs to those who dare, who persist, who refuse to bow before difficulties. Weakness is death, strength is life. There is no greater sin than thinking of oneself as weak. Every person is divine, every soul is limitless, and those who realize this truth rise above all suffering, shining like the sun in the sky. A weak mind always finds excuses, blaming circumstances, luck, or other people for its failures. But a strong mind takes responsibility, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. If one wants to develop mental strength, the first step is to take control of thoughts. Whatever the mind constantly thinks about, that it becomes. If one always thinks of failure, fear, and sorrow, life becomes a series of miseries. But if one thinks of courage, power, and confidence, the same life transforms into a journey of triumph. Every great person in history, whether saints, scientists, or leaders, succeeded not because the world made things easy for them, but because they made their minds stronger than the obstacles they faced. The mind is like a muscle. If it is never trained, it remains weak and tired. But if exercised with effort, it becomes powerful and unshakable. Fear is one of the greatest enemies of the mind. It paralyzes, stops action, and keeps people in darkness. But fear is nothing but an illusion, a shadow that disappears the moment one walks into it. The only way to overcome fear is to face it. Every time a person avoids a fear, it grows stronger. Every time they face it, it weakens. Those who conquer fear achieve the impossible. Regret is another poison of the mind. The past cannot be changed, but it can be learned from. Wise people do not waste time crying over what is gone. They take lessons and move forward with double the energy. A mind stuck in regret is like a bird trying to fly with a stone tied to its feet. Sadness, too, is a great weakness, but it is not the sadness itself that destroys. It is the refusal to let go of it. Life is constantly changing, and nothing is permanent. The happiest people are not those who never suffer, but those who refuse to be defeated by suffering. Laziness is another great enemy of the mind. It comes disguised as comfort, but it steals time, energy, and life itself. Those who let laziness control them remain in mediocrity, while those who discipline themselves rise to greatness. Action is the cure for laziness. Every step taken, no matter how small, builds momentum, and soon, effort becomes a habit. The secret to transforming the mind lies in practice. No one is born strong, but strength can be developed. If a person practices courage daily, even in small things, one day they will stand fearless before the greatest challenges. If a person practices self-control, even in small moments, one day they will have unshakable willpower. The mind becomes what it repeatedly does. Just as a river, by constantly flowing, carves out a path through mountains, a person, by constantly thinking strong thoughts, creates an unbreakable character. The greatest lesson in life is to never give up. No failure is final unless one accepts it. Those who keep trying, who refuse to bow down to obstacles, who hold on to their goal with firm determination, always succeed. Strength does not mean having no struggles. It means standing firm in the middle of struggles. A person with a strong mind is like a mountain. Winds of failure, storms of suffering, and waves of doubt may strike, but they do not shake it. Such a person walks with confidence, speaks with wisdom, and acts with courage. Their presence itself is a source of inspiration to others. The world is full of people who complain, who fear, who give up easily. But those who rise above, who refuse to be defeated, who stand up again and again despite failures, are the ones who change their own destiny. The mind is everything. If it is weak, even a small problem feels like a mountain. If it is strong, even a mountain feels like a small step. The power is already within. One only needs to recognize it. Happiness, peace, and success are not found outside. They are created within the mind. A person with a disciplined, strong mind sees opportunities where others see problems, sees hope where others see despair, and sees lessons where others see failures. Such a mind does not depend on circumstances for happiness, but creates its own light even in the darkest of times. The world respects those who are fearless, who stand firm like a lion, who live with purpose, who never surrender to difficulties. To such people, success is not luck, but an outcome of their relentless effort. To master the mind is the greatest achievement. It is not done in a day, but through constant practice. Just as a blacksmith shapes iron by hammering it again and again, a person shapes their mind by feeding it strength, courage, and wisdom daily. Life is a battle, and the only way to win is to train the mind like a warrior, disciplined, fearless, and unstoppable. Those who conquer the mind conquer everything.